So we're gonna go ahead and get started right now. Feel free to ask me questions in between when you have it, or maybe you can wait to the end of the lecture to ask me any question. And again, good afternoon. My name is Kweku Pepra. I hail from Ghana, as I mentioned, but I currently live in New York City. I do research. I'm in medical research and I do cardio. At the same time, I am an entrepreneur and also an educator. So, as you know, we've already had a first part of this lecture, and I decided to put together a basic computer course for beginners. The first time we met, we talked about information and communication technology. And in this lecture, we're going to talk more about computers. We're going to talk more about the overview and organization of computers, which, as you can see in the graphics pointed here, this gives you an overview of what a computer looks like. We have the processor, we have the memory, we have the input and output, we have the storage system, and we have the output system. So these come together to be the organization of a computer. And we're going to go over all the components of it. So as you can see on the screen, we have the overview and organization of computer. After this lecture, you'll be able to know a little bit about the history and development of computer. You're going to also learn about the generations of computer, the classifications of computer, the types of computers, applications of computers, the different parts of computers, and also the memory and storage of computers. And so to begin with, we're going to start with the history and development of computer. And I'm a history guy. I love history. I like to know the origin of things. I always like to know where things come from, which is the history. That gives you a perspective of where we have come, So you have to know the background of where computers came from, and then we can move forward. So in this part, I'm going to talk about the history and development of computers. And as you can see, there is always advancements and growth of computers. Computers have come a long way. And going back into history, the first computer that ever came was in the form of an abacus machine, which is a mechanical device. The first one of a kind to be made, it was mechanical device and the first device. And there came the Napier's bone. Napier's bone was invented by a mathematician, John Napier, who invented it in 1614. And it was used to perform additions, subtractions, multiplications, and divisions, which actually was helpful during the time. Engineers used to use it and mathematicians used to use this. So there came another instrument, which is Wilhelm Schickard. He built a mechanical computer in 1623. This machine or device supported 16 digits capacities. And then after that instrument came Blaise Pascal. Blaise Pascal was a French mathematician. Blaise Pascal was a mathematician who built this mechanical calculator in 1642. And this device was able to do addition and subtraction of numbers directly. It only supported 8 digits. And then after that, we had Charles Babbage. Charles Babbage also came by and built the difference in engine in 1820. And he also used his device to perform mathematics and statistical tables. So here in this part, we're going to talk about the generations of computer. So there's a difference in technologies used to make computers in different periods. And here we have the first generation of computer, which was large and it comprised in big rooms. It could actually fill a room of about a studio size. And the second generation of computer was built between 1959 and 1964. It had punch cards used for inputs and mechanical tapes used for inputs and outputs and storages. So it was pretty great. As you can see, it went from this huge instrument to a very small one, relatively, compared to this one. And now we had the third generation of computers, which was built in 1965 and 1970. So it was between 1965 and 1970. It was more reliable, it was small, it had less heat generated, small energy required, and the keyboard used as input and monitor was used as an output device. So as you can see here, we have the third generation of computer. And then in 1980, we had the fourth generation of computer, which was large scale integrated circuits, very large scale integrated circuits for technological use, which was relatively small compared to the third generation. And then the fourth generation in 1990 came. This had more features. It had a voice recognition, and it can, dictate computers. It can be detected to the computer by the microphone. So the person can really dictate a voice and guess into the computer through a microphone. It also had artificial intelligence technology, which is introduced in the computer, which can really think for itself and make decisions for itself. That is a robot. That would be an example of a fifth generation computer. So now we had the classification of computers. As you can see, we have computers in different forms and shapes. And here we have a microcomputer. A microcomputer will be a small size computer. And as you all know, we can call it a personal computer. It is a little different than the laptop. A microcomputer has a microprocessor used as its central processing unit. And as you can see, this is an example here of a microcomputer. And we also have the laptop computer. So the laptop is also sometimes referred to as a notebook. It is portable. It is compact in size, so you can carry around. You can put in your backpack and carry it around, whether you're going to a class or you're going anywhere that you're gonna have benefit from. And we also have the mini computer. As you can tell, there's a microcomputer and there is a mini computer. So the mini computer is larger than micro, but smaller than the mainframe computer. As you can see, it's larger than the micro, but very small compared to the laptop. It supports hundreds of users simultaneously. So it's bigger and it supports many users simultaneously, and it is very much of a very high maintenance compared to the micro computer. So another class of computer is the mainframe, which is the cardboard-sized computer, expensive and extremely high processing speed. It's used for storage, managing, and process large amount of data. As you can see here, that's an example of a mainframe computer. And also we had a handheld computer. It is very small in size. It can be carried in hands, small keyboard and screen. And an example of that could be a pocket computer, PDA, or Palm Top. This is an example of that. It can be carried around, used in supermarkets, used by engineers, and used by companies to perform any function that they desire. Now, let's talk about some types of computers. So computers are divided into these subclasses. We have the digital computer, which is a type of computer. We have the analog computer, and also we have the hybrid computer. But as you can tell here in this image, this is what we know computer to be. This is a desktop, which is highly recognized. This would be an example of a digital computer. But let's get into breaking them down to learn about the different types of computer. So digital computer uh, process data in the form of digits, right? We have our laptops and our desktops as examples of digital computers. It is accurate, but not fast. It is accurate, but not too fast compared to other types of computers. We have the analog computer, which recognizes data in physical form. And this is an example of it. As you can see, it is a lot bigger than the digital computer. And it was manufactured to be used in scientific laboratories. It has high speed, but not accurate compared to the digital computer. So now you can see the difference is that digital computer is accurate, but not fast. But analog computers are fast, but not that accurate compared to a digital computer. We have the hybrid computer, which is a combination of the analog and the digital, which is also used in scientific laboratories. And here is an example of it. Now, let's talk about some applications of computer. So for applications of computer, we use computer in so many different industries in our aspect of life. It can be very useful in different fields. And I think in the previous lecture, we talked about some fields like education, business, banking, defense, entertainment, and sports. And all these areas can use and benefit from computers. In education, it enhances us to learn and it improves the quality of education. When you have computer, you're able to store information, you're able to quickly find things that can be useful for your learning advantage. In business, computer can play a role in increasing productivity and competitiveness of businesses. And also the internet enhance sales and marketing. And also it can also help in processing payments when it comes to buying physical products and paying for services. In banking, people can use check balance, transfer funds, pay bills from their homes using the internet, and also the ATM. You can go to the ATM and through a processed computer, you are able to take money. So here is examples of, computers, how it can be used. We have the military usage, ATM, and also online banking where you can pay for a service and also, purchase things online. So we have the defense, in defense and the military, the ballistic missiles and rocket use through the GPS, which is the global positioning system, to hit specific target. That's an example of how the military can use a computer. Computers can also track incoming missiles and hit them in air, which is for defense purposes. In entertainment, we have a 3D technology used to make movies, which enhance the quality of graphics. And also computer games are best for entertainment. It has become an industry of various computer systems, right? We depend on computers to build computer games. And so it contributes to entertainment. In sports, computer can be used for record keeping and also selling tickets. Now, again, I know in America here, if I want to go to a basketball game or a soccer game, all I can do is just go online and find a website and purchase my ticket so that I can go to the game. So as you can see, computer has a lot of different advantages to it. And now some of the important stuff about computers, important terms and computer parts. We have the buses. Buses, as you can see here on the board, we have things that look like buses. These are electrical pathways where data transfer from one location to another. It is very, very much important because that's how data is transferred and that's how computer functions. We have the data bus. Data bus transfers data through this CPU, which is central processing unit, to memory locations or from the memory location to the CPU. And that's how computer boards and the buses communicate with one another to help us process and to help the computer to function. So it is a bi-directional bus. And these are buses here shown on the board. And also we have the address bus. Address buses carry memories address where data stores and read in memory device. It's also single direction bus. As you can see here, these are single direction buses that helps computers to function. Also, we have the control buses. So control buses is used to carry control signals generated by the central processing unit or the control unit of the central processing unit. It is also a bi-directional bus. And here is an example of a control bus. And the terminologies used to express the operation of a computer bus, right? We call it the computer control bus is how the computer operates bi-directionally, and it controls the signal in the control unit of the central processing unit. Also, we have another important part of computer, which is the computer port. The computer port is an interface and a connector where external devices can plug. And these are examples of the port. These are ports. There are three types of ports. And as you can see here, these are the series. We have the series, we have the parallel, and we have the USB port. And if you can see here, that is how the ports are used. You can connect things in it. The flash drive, we have the connector, and the internet or Ethernet connector. You can connect all these wires into the port to potentially input the data into that computer. So here is an overview of what the many ports we have in computer. Overview of the many ports we have in a computer. We have the series port. As you can see here, if you look through what I have here, we have the series port, amongst it, which there's an example of a series port right here. The series port communication is a communication port. You can connect the mouse and the modem to it. And also we have the parallel port. Here it is the Centronic parallel 36 pin. We also have the 25 pin port, which connects printers and other devices. It is faster than the serial port, and it transfers data faster. We also have the USB port. And if you can look through here, you can find a USB port. And where is it? Let me find the USB port. So the USB port is up there, right here. The USB port is right here on top. And you plug every kind of device easily. We have the 125 device that can plug in the port, the bus. We have the scanner, we have the keyboard, and we have the mouse that you can plug through the USB, to the USB port, which is the Universal Serial Bus. So here is the port itself. You connect a USB in there to transfer information and data from an external device into the computer for input processing. Now, let's talk about the microprocessor. So the microprocessor, as you can see in this picture here, is the microprocessor. The microprocessor is also known as the brain of a computer, right? If you take yourself as a human being, if you take the computer as a human being, the computer also has a brain, and it is called the operation system of the computer, also called the central processing unit. That's how you process data, and that's how you are able to get a computer to function. So we have the central processing unit, which is consistent of three parts. We have the ALU, which is the arithmetic and logical unit. And we also have the control unit, and we have the memory unit. So all of these, this is the board, central processing unit, and the brain of the computer, which comprises of the three parts: the control, the arithmetic and logical unit, and the memory units. So here is a breakdown of how all these units are used. So the ALU, which is the arithmetic and the logical unit, is used for performing arithmetics, which is addition, subtractions, multiplication, logical operations, and comparison of operation. It can also be used for mathematics in terms of equal to, not equal to, less than, greater than. As you can see on your keyboard, that's how when you click on any of that, it is arithmetic and logical unit is going to be used to process the function that you're looking to do. We have the control unit. Control unit control and coordinate all computer components and operation of the computer. When you select an instruction from the memory, you are able to send it to the ALU for execution. Also, memory unit, which is also another important part of a computer, is a temporary location used to store data and instructions temporarily. So now let's talk about memory and storage. How do you store things on computer? We have the primary memory, which is the main memory or the online memory, directly accessible to the central processing unit, and data and instructions stores temporarily for processing. So the primary processing is used to store data and instructions temporarily for processing. We have the random access memory, which is RAM, which is shown here, an example of a RAM, which randomly selects memory locations where data are stored. So central processing unit get data and instructions for processing through the random access memory. And more random access memory increase the performance of a computer. The more RAM you have in a computer, the better the computer functions and the faster it is. Now, there are two types of random access memories. We have the DRAM and we have the SRAM. The DRAM is the dynamic random access memory, which is used in combination of the capacitor and the transistor to store. We also have the static random access memory, which is used by the transistor and flip-flop to store data. Another example of a memory is the read-only memory. So read-only memory is only read-only memory, right? It is used to read data, and it is just able to read memory temporarily. It's non-volatile memory, so data cannot erase when the power supply is switched off, right? It stores, and once the data is on the read-only memory, after you switch the power off, it is still going to be on. And some type of read-only memory are PROM, EEPROM, and EEPROM, which we're going to talk about later. We also have a second storage, secondary storage. We have secondary storage in a computer. Secondary storage store large amount of data permanently compared to, the memory, which stored random access memory and read-only memory, where it stores things temporarily. We have a non-volatile storage, which stores data, and they are not able to erase even after the computer is shut off. There are two types of this secondary storage. We have the hard disk and we have the optical disk. As you can see here, these are example of secondary storage. We have, the hard drive, we have the External drive, we have all these flash drive and also micro drives, which you can recognize. So hard drive, we have fixed drive, which you can insert into the computer, which stores a large amount of data permanently unless you want to erase it. It's still going to be there. There are various sizes, and the sizes ranges from 10 gigabytes to 500 gigabytes, which you can store so many things and a lot of memories you can store on. We also have the optical disk. So optical disk, you can write data on it using a laser beam to put information on there. This secondary storage is available in the following format. It is in the form of a compact disk, and it's also in the form of a digital versatile disk. And I'm sure you've heard of these things before. Here, we have an example of the secondary storage. Here we have the optical disk format. We have the compact disk. So the compact disk is a non-volatile medium, and you can recognize this. I'm not sure if these are used anymore or they are around anymore, but I remember using some of these. They're non-volatile, medium storage, stores large amount of data, about 700 megabytes, and are available in the following types. We have the CDR, which is a blank disk in which data can store only once. And we have the CD rewritable, which is the CDRW rewritable, which is used to write data many times after erasing previous data. So you can put information on there, you can erase it, and then store a whole new data on it. And, this is how it's really used. You can put music on there, put it in a CD player, and, you can play the music. Also, I'm sure you can recognize this. We have the DVD, which is the digital versatile disc. DVD is the same as the CD, but storage capacity and performance is very high. And DVDs are further classified into the following. We have the recordable DVD used to record the data only one time, and DVD rewritable, which is used to record the data multiple times. And previous data can also be erased and put some new information and data on there. Now, we're about coming to the end of this, but this is very important. The motherboard of computer system. We have the large printed circuits board, which is the main board or the motherboard of the computer. So without this, the computer cannot function. So the components below can attach directly. It can be attached directly and indirectly to the motherboard all together. And I'm talking about the microprocessor, the memory storage devices port, and the expansion slots. All of these can be connected to the motherboard to give the computer life for it to function properly, so that you can really use it for whatever function or activity that you want to use the computer for. So that is it. That is about the overview and the organization of computer. And I hope you find it very helpful. So I believe by now you know about the history of computers, the classification of computers, the type of computers, the functionalities of computers, the memory and storage of computers. And that is pretty much it. Thank you. Thank you for, again, tuning in and listening. Now, I am open to taking any questions that anybody may have. And I left my information here just in case anybody wanted to reach me, my Instagram here, and also the YouTube. I have my personal and also my education YouTube here, PEPS resource, where you can, connect. That's where I put these lectures so that you can have it.